This week, you're going to be reading about what von Kamm calls integrating structures in Chapter 3 of Understanding Our Story. Integrating structures are the theoretical construct that von Kamm uses to talk about and think about what integrates our whole field, all of our spheres and dimensions of living. And so there are different kinds of integrating structures, everything from what he calls the founding form, theoretically, which theologically and biblically we call as Christians the soul, the core form, he calls that theoretically the core form, what the Bible calls the heart, and there are all different kinds of integrating structures. You'll be reading about those this week. One of the ones that you're going to be focusing on in your application of von Kamm this week is actually what's called the temper form. What he calls the temper form, you may know in more contemporary sort of modern pop lingo as your temperament. And so some of what you're going to be doing this week is exploring your temperament and looking at some materials that Dr. Grimm has provided for us. There's quite a bit of research actually on this, because it turns out that our temperament, our basic given temperament, our personality preferences, so to speak, really tends to influence our spirituality, and sometimes we're not aware of that. So this week's activities are going to help you hopefully get in touch with that, recognize in yourself how your temperament influences your own spirituality, and also to become a bit more aware of how the temperament of other people, people you live with, people you lead and minister to, the way their temperaments also are going to affect the way that they both experience God and the way they express the love and life of God in the world. So I hope you have a good time doing that. Instead of writing a paper about what you explore, what I'm asking you to do this week is do what I call a personality profile project. And so basically the idea with that, and there are details in your syllabus that you should check, but basically the idea is instead of writing a paper, you're just going to create a one-page, single-page summary of your basic personality profile. So the title of it should have your name and your basic Myers-Briggs personality preference. So, for example, I am an INTJ. Whatever you are, you're going to put that across the top as the title. And then some reflection on how that personality preference, according to the research, tends to affect what we're drawn to in terms of spiritual practices, and what tends to be the case that most people of our personality types aren't as drawn to. And then I also ask you to indicate what current spiritual practices that are already a part of your life and perhaps have been for a while, but right now are part of your practice, are particularly life-giving and important to you, kind of foundational to your Christian spirituality. So you're going to be doing that. You can do it with pictures and words, bulleted lists. I've got a sample or so of examples of how people have done personality projects that are on the website for you to explore. So take a look at those, and as you look over the materials and think about this, I hope you have a good time doing this slightly different, instead of writing a paper, slightly different thing of this personality project. I hope you have a good time doing it. And I hope it provides for you some insights about how your personality type is shaping and forming and interacting with your Christian spirituality.